Good day, everyone. Today, we discuss about the media and the digital age. We start the introduction of the new technology and the media. Why is it important today, the new technology and the media? It's because it is transformed in a way information is created, disseminated, and consumed, offering numerous benefits and opportunities to growth. For example, these are the example of the media and the digital age. Our next topic is about the digital delivery media. What is the digital delivery media? It refers to the channels and platform used to distribute digital content, product or services. Our common as streaming services, digital stores, online application, cloud service, social media platform, website and blog, app stores, and emails.
Devices to access digital media. The term digital media convergence refers to the coming together of all media types in a computer-based form, typically including wired or wireless connectivity to the internet or a LAN. Nowhere is digital convergence more apparent than in the devices used to access, display, consume, experience, interact with, and create digital content. Since the 1990s, a wide range of digital devices have emerged to give consumers and content creators alike increasingly powerful, affordable, and productive tools for experiencing or producing media in the digital age. A device is to access digital media is any tool or gadget that allows people to view, play, create, or interact with the digital content such as video, music, images, games, documents, or online information. For example, smartphones. Smartphone is for streaming, browsing, and social media. Computers or laptop for working, gaming, and multimedia use. Tablets for reading, watching, or drawing. Smart TVs for streaming movies or shows. Game consoles for playing video games and accessing online services. Media players like DVD players, MP3 player for music or video playback. In a short, electronic devices that lets you consume, share, or interact with the digital content is to consider a device to access digital media. Audiences or users of digital media. Audience is an evolving concept in the days of terrestrial broadcasts, television and radio, and even in the early days of cable. Television viewer and radio listener were typically called the audience. This term was also sometimes used to describe those who read the newspaper or consume any of the other mass media, such as magazines, books, and movies. Audience suggests a passive receiver of immediate messages, something of a marketing term. It replaced the idea that the media are delivering audience for advertisers. So what is audience? Used to mean the people who watch TV, listen to the radio, read newspapers, or go to the movies. These people were seen as a passive receiver of information or entertainment. They didn't really influence what was being shown or said. They just watch, listen, or read. In the old days, especially with terrestrial broadcast TV and radio, the media companies thought of their audience as a target market for advertisers. That means advertisers would pay to show their ads to these people because they believed the audience would be interested in what they had to sell. So, why is the term audience changing? With the rise of digital media, sama sa social media streaming platform ug online nga balita, ang idea sa usa ka maminaw na usab. Karon ang mga tao dili lang nagtanaw o naminaw, sila nagmugna, nagpaambit o nakig-uban sa sulod niini. Kini nagpasabot nga ang maminaw dili na usa ka posible nga grupo. Aktibo ni sila nga mga partisipante. Here are some examples. Social media users. Pananglitan. ang mga tao nga nagamit sa mga platform sama sa Facebook, Instagram o TikTok aron ipaambit ang mga litrato, video o mensahe sa mga higala, pamilya o publiko. What's important because these users are the main audience for content creators, advertisers, and social media companies. Next, content creators. Examples: YouTubers, bloggers, or podcasters who create and share content for their followers. It's important because these users are both creators and consumers of digital media, often engaging with the audience through comments, likes, and share. Next, gamers. Example, people who play video games on platforms like Steam, Xbox, or PlayStation. Why is important? Because these users are the target audience for the game developers, streaming platforms, and gaming communities. Then last, mobile app users. Example, people who use apps like WhatsApp, Snapchat, or Spotify for communication, entertainment, or productivity. It's also important because these users are the main audience for app developers, advertisers, and mobile server providers.
Distributors of digital media. Since the dawn of modern mass communication, those who have controlled the means of media distribution have wielded enormous power. Distributors of media have often exerted significant influence over public opinion, reaped huge financial gain, and often held the ear or eye of elected officials and other leaders, whether local or nation or international. Sometimes the same company have made the media of controlled its distribution. But in the US, laws against monopolies, called antitrust laws, have often forced these companies to separate production from distribution, so one group doesn't have too much power. Here are some examples that make it clearer. First is old Hollywood studios. In the early 1990s, big studios like Paramount or MGM not only made the movies but also owned the theaters where they were shown. This gave them huge power. They could block smaller studios from showing films. U.S. anti-coerce laws stepped in the Paramount case in 1948, forcing studios to sell their theaters so no one company controlled both production and distribution. Second is television networks. Examples of these are NBC, CBS, and ABS, used to both create shows and control their awareness or distribution. Because of this, they dominated what Americans could watch for decades. The third one is modern streaming services. For example, Netflix, Disney, and Amazon Prime both produce shows or movies like Stranger Things or The Mandalorian and distribute them on their own platforms.
The funding and ownership of media of public communication has been evolving since the 18th century. In the past, most media were owned by family and independent, but over time, the ownership shifted to larger, publicly traded companies or media conglomerates that often operates nationally and even internationally. These changes created economies of scale, meaning bigger companies could operate more efficiently. However, they also introduced new values and principles into the media industry. Usahay, ang media operations became just one part of much larger corporations. For example, ani katong NBC, which is a major television network. Ang owner ani kay si General Electric, a huge multinational corporation. This shows how media ownership is now tied to big industry and business interests.
Regulation and Law of Digital Media. Since the ratification of the First Amendment to the Constitution on December 15, 1791, the media of public communication in the United States have enjoyed a somewhat privileged legal and regulatory status. The First Amendment guarantees the Congress shall make no law abridging freedom of speech or press. The courts have interpreted and extended this constitutional protection to include generally all forms of public media. Yet, certain restrictions and limitations pertain, particularly to newer electronic media, to the circumstances of the communication, and to the type of content and audience. These restrictions are still evolving in the digital age.
Media and digital age. So what is media and digital age? Media and digital age, it refers to the various channels and platforms through which information, entertainment, and communication are created, shared, and consumed online. So, unsa gid ay ang media and digital age? So, media and digital age kay daghan silang pamaagi kung unsaon og papalaganap sa mga bagong impormasyon. So, doon na sad sila examples. Ang una examples kay online newspapers. Ang ikaduha is downloadable music and videos. Ang ikaduha is bloggers and podcast. So, doon na sad sila types sa media, digital media. Sa ang una kay software. Ang ikaduha, digital images, digital videos, video games, web pages, and websites. And they also have the social media, digital data, and digital database, and etc.